Honorable Prime Minister has been making. And may I now request the head of the United Nations Environment, Mr. Erik Solheim, for his opening remarks.
Dear Prime Minister Modi, dear Secretary General, there are so many dignitaries in this room, I cannot mention you all, but I'm so happy to be with you this great morning in Delhi. My dear Modi-ji, the most important raw material in today's world is not gold or oil or energy or any mineral. The most important missing raw material in today's world is political leadership. That's what's transforming the world. Political vision, political leadership, political dedication, that's what so often is lacking. And that's what I admire so much from you. You are providing that to India and to the much wider world. Some of you are aware, but for many years of my life, I came to India maybe every 6 weeks. I was the chief negotiator in the peace process in Sri Lanka. I came here to confer with Indian leadership from BJP and from Congress. It was a very different India, even if it's just 10, 15 years back. A much poorer India. At the time there was no metro in Delhi. Now you are opening a new metro station basically every week. So it was a very different India. And it was also an India with a very different debate. The time the debate was always, do India want to develop or do India want to take care of Mother Earth and the nature? And surprise, surprise, most Indians wanted to develop. I give you credit one-handedly to transform that debate into a debate not about development or environment, but a debate about environment and development as one track where we can do triple wins, put up policies which are good for the environment, good for jobs and economic growth, and good for the uplifting of the people and the health all at the same time. Well, this is maybe not new in India, because I think environment runs deeper in the veins of Indians than in most people in the world. And that's not least thanks to the natural-born environmentalist Mahatma Gandhi. He was an environmentalist at a time when the notion didn't exist. I don't think the name environmentalist did exist in the 1920s or 1930s. Still, he was probably the greatest environmentalist ever walking this planet. I mean, his lifestyle was very modest. That's always helpful. He bonded with nature in a fantastic way. I mean, Mahatma Gandhi said that if you want to look into the character of a person, look into how that person is treating animals. He said, the way we are treating our forest is a mirror image for ourselves. This is really being an environmentalist at a time when the notion didn't exist. Mahatma Gandhi was also one of the first people I am aware of who pointed to the enormous negative consequences of air pollution. He said, man can subsist for many days without food. We can even go a day without water, but we can only go a few minutes without air. So let's protect the air against the horrendous air pollution. And he looked into how the factory workers of the time were polluting bad air. So this is an environmentalist at a time where there were no environmentalism. It's so inspiring to all of you. And one of the most famous quotes from Gandhi, in my view, was he said, "Cleanliness is godliness." And can there be any better way of taking that quote, that inspiration of Gandhi, into the 21st century than the Swatch India campaign? Cleanliness is godliness, providing toilet to every single Indian, making sure that everyone in the countryside of India has a family toilet, avoiding the open defecation, making sure that there is much less pollution into the great rivers, to the Ganga, and to all the other rivers. Can there be any better way of honoring Mahatma Gandhi than Swatch India? And this is the triple win policies we want. Much better for the health of people because there is less bacteria, much better for the environment and the great rivers, and providing any number of jobs and economic growth, all with the same policies. So Swatch India, triple win, environment, health, and jobs. But of course there are other such triple wins policies. Another one is plastics. It must have been the proudest moment in my life in the United Nations when I was in Delhi on the 5th of June, when Prime Minister Modi announced that India will wipe out all one-use plastic by 2022. That's such a brave statement. You may not be able to do it fully, but even setting the target, setting the direction, has such an impact. You see the impact immediately. When that leadership comes from the top, well, you see the impact in the state of Uttar Pradesh. You see it in Tamil Nadu. You see it in Maharashtra. We tried to buy one-use cutlery in the state of Maharashtra. What did people tell us? Well, they said, well, you have to go somewhere else. We didn't want to use it. We want to make a video to throw away the one use of the plastic cutlery. They said, no, we don't have it here. Go to another state. And of course, with Maharashtra, 120 million, UP 200 million, Tamil Nadu 80, 90 million, when these entities start moving, it's enormous for the world. And all the big leaders of business in Mumbai, again, coming together, see how can business benefit from these opportunities to move into new and better products and create new business opportunities. Again, good for the environment, good for health, and good for business and jobs with just one policy. And please also remind yourself of the international implications of this. India is soon to be the most populous nation in the world. India is probably the most complicated society on the planet in its enormous variety and richdom. If India can wipe out one-use plastic, there is nowhere to hide. You cannot stand up in the parliament of, well, my nation, Norway, or South Africa, or Ecuador, or Brazil, or Cameroon, or anywhere else in the world and tell the people, oh, only the Indians can do this. We cannot do it. India can do it, everyone can do it, there is no place to hide, so this is of fantastic importance to the rest of the world. Thank God you are not alone. The European Union has a very ambitious plastic strategy. Parliament of Chile just made a very strong decisions for Chile. Many African nations like Eritrea, Kenya, Rwanda have strong policies. So a lot is happening, but India is in the lead. That's what we want to honor today. And it's, of course, not just plastic pollution, it's also air pollution. UN Environment is very, very proud to work with the government of India, with the Minister of Petroleum, with some of the northern Indian states, to see how we can transform the agriculture waste in the areas around India, in the UP and Haryana and the other states, how that we can transform into an economic opportunity for the future. If we can make the environmental, the agriculture waste into a biofuel, again, good for environment, good for health, and good for the economy, all that with the same policies. Dear Prime Minister, when we met, you told me a moving story. You said your grandparents were very poor. Your grandfather had told your grandmother that maybe you should go and chop some wood in the forest. But your grandmother said, no, yes, we are poor, but we will not destroy the forest. That's too sacred for us. To me, that's a very moving story about the dedication to nature. And also nature, we now see great progress in India. The amount of forest is increasing after many, many years of decrease. Fantastic. I mean, for sure, a lot more needs to happen, but it's on the positive side. The tiger population is gradually increasing. Again, great credit to India. Remind yourself, there is hardly any animal on the planet which is so difficult to conserve as tigers, because tigers is one of the very, very few animals who attack Indians to kill us, to eat us. I mean, malaria, mosquitoes are more dangerous to humans than tigers, but they don't try to eat us. So making the tiger population grow is a great credit to India, and it shows the dedication to nature and your leadership. Finally, solar energy. Energy is at the core of everything. And what an achievement to connect 700,000 villages of India to the electrical grid. True, not all households are still connected, that's the next. But to connect every single village, 700,000, it's such an achievement. And more it's happened with solar, with big solar, with small solar, but transforming the economy from the old coal-based into the new solar-based. And through that you also create many more jobs, because there are many more jobs in the solar energy. And we had the honor not just to honor you in New York, but also to honor Kochi International Airport, the first fully solar airport anywhere in the world. And I tell my... And it's not a small airport. Kochi is bigger than any airport at the African continent except for South Africa. So it's a big airport from an international perspective. When I tell my Chinese friends, my European friends, my American friends, well, if the Indians can do that in Kochi, for sure you can do that in Florida, or you can do that in the sun-rich part of China or Europe. So it's, again, inspiring the entire world and making International Solar Alliance a huge positive for the future. I saw Prime Minister said that maybe this is the OPEC of the future. Yes, we will see an enormous transformation of the global economies into solar in the years to come. Last year was the first year in human history where we produced more solar energy than oil and gas, coal, and nuclear combined. So the transformation is happening. We just need to speed it up. Finally, even a Prime Minister is not alone. Without a good team, you cannot have achieved all this. Let me pay tribute to my very good friend, Dr. Harshvardhanji, the man who wiped out polio from India and is now transforming India into green, and to C.K. Mishra, Chief Secretary of the Ministry, and all the other dedicated people, because you are the support team making what the Prime Minister is doing possible. Finally, we need political leadership. We need visionary leadership. We need the dedication and determination which you are providing. This is also in line with Mahatma Gandhi, who famously said, we need to be the change we want to see in this world. And Prime Minister, you are leading us in that area. You make it possible for us to be the change we want to see in this world. Thank you so much.